I'm your pocket filler, the parlay killer, the Northside thriller. Start the broadcast, subscribe with a smash, the Gorilla Sports Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome into the Gorilla Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Bulpin. It is Friday, September 6th. Oh, football's back, baby. What a game yesterday. That was a fun one to watch. Back and forth. The game ended with Lamar Jackson throwing a touchdown with his toe just on the line. They could have tied the game. It looked like they were going to go for two to go for the win in Arrowhead, so that would have been a cool finish. But yeah, what an awesome game. All right, let's recap our plays from yesterday. Let's go to baseball first. So we had 3 batter parlays. We won 2 of them. We had 6 players going. We went 5 out of the 6 players. So we're still seeing baseball really well. We took Juan Yepez and we paired him with Luis Arias. That was a winner. We took our boy Lawrence Butler and we paired it with Marcell Ozuna. That was also a winner. And then Taylor Ward, his 14-game hitting streak is now finished. He did not get a hit, but Brian Reynolds did. So that was our one loser. All right, over to the NFL. So we had Kansas City on the money line. Loved that. Now, if you listen to our podcast, me and Jeremy Webb on Wednesday nights, we deep dive into the Thursday night football and into the Friday. And we went through all of the games through the slate. My biggest bet of the week was on Patrick Mahomes over his 258.5. Now it ticked up to 266.5. People were asking me, before the game starts, what do you think about 271? And I still liked it. I said, take it. So I won a good couple of bucks on that one. Now, FanDuel also had a live 50% boost. I told everyone on the Wednesday podcast that I was just going to wait for that game to start, and I was going to bet that Mahomes bet again. So I hit it again. I got it at a plus 140 after the boost. So that was beautiful, especially with Baltimore scoring first. You knew he was going to have to throw to catch up. So he ended up just under 300 yards, 290-something yards. So just sailed over that 266 is when I got it live. Our losers, we took Derrick Henry. He didn't come through for us. Baltimore is having some serious offensive line troubles. I mean, the amount of times that they got penalized for having their tackles in the backfield. So you can't have that V shape anymore. It really has to be a straight line. And they got called on it maybe 6 or 7 times. So I think the NFL was trying to make a standard that no, you can't have this flying V-shaped offensive line. It has to be a straight line. So the same guys kept getting called over and over again. You can see Harbaugh on the sidelines losing his mind. What else do we have? Then we had Travis Kelce. We had him over his 57.5. He didn't get targeted until the second quarter. It's been a bit of a strange one for him. It was the Rashee Rice show. So that didn't come through for us either. He ended up with about 30-something. He only had 2 catches. So we had the free bet as well on the Kansas City Chiefs. It was Kansas City to complete 1 pass. So that was beautiful. That came through. On the other side, DraftKings had a promo where it was either Travis Kelce or Derrick Henry to score a touchdown. And it went from minus 330 to a plus 100. So that came through nicely. Derrick Henry scored a touchdown. They also had a no sweat touchdown scorer that you could bet on. I took Derrick Henry for that. That came through as well. So I smashed yesterday. I had a great game. I didn't win my same game parlay, but a couple of these same game parlays, I didn't win any of them because I had Henry and Kelce on these tickets, but it doesn't matter. They were no sweat ones. So now I have all these free bet tickets to go for today. All right, let's get into some action today. I've got 5 batter parlays I like today, and they've all got great prices on them. Let's get into the baseball first. We're going to take Bobby Witt and the Kansas City Royals to get 1 hit, and we're going to pair that with our boy Lawrence Butler. Now, Bobby Witt's going versus Zebby Matthews, the rookie in Minnesota. This kid's 1-2. He's got a 7.41 ERA, and he gives up a 12.3% barrel rate, which is in the second bottom percentile of the entire league. So I think Bobby Witt can square one up for him. And we're going to take Lawrence Butler. This guy is absolutely on fire. He's been making us a ton of money lately. He's on a 15-game hitting streak. He's got 2+ bases in 9 out of his last 10 games. Now, we said this yesterday versus Brian Wu, that these pitchers aren't absolutely unhittable. And he came through for us yesterday. I say this because he's going versus Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers. Now, this guy's an absolute ace. However, he just gave up 8 hits to the Chicago White Sox. So I like the price getting Bobby Witt and Lawrence Butler together at a plus 117. Yes, please. Love that. Our next play is probably one of my favorite batter parlays of the day. It's got two of our fan favorites on there. We're going with Vladdy Guerrero of the Toronto Blue Jays. This guy has a hit in 40 of his last 43 games. That is on fire. Now he's batting .337 versus left-handed pitching. He's going versus Max Fried today, so I like that look. And we're going to pair him with Gunnar Henderson, our boy from Baltimore. Now he's going versus Shane Baz, the right-handed pitcher, who Henderson loves hitting against right-handed pitchers. Now he's in the bottom 4th percentile of exit velocity. Now I think this is because he has a 95.8 miles per hour averaged fastball, which is fast, but it's not like, it's not Skeens fast or any of these guys who throw at 99 or 100. So he also only has he's in the second bottom percentile of chase rate, meaning like this guy can only just throw the heater, and Henderson turns on heaters really well. And when you pair Vladdy and Henderson together, you get a -107. So a beautiful price there as well. Our next play is we are going to take Luis Arias of the San Diego Padres. He's on an absolute tear as well. He bats .334 versus right-handed pitching. He's going versus Mason Black today. This rookie gives up 11.7 hits per 9. So that's a good look for Luis Arias. And we're going to pair him with Brent Rooker. Now, again, this is an Oakland A going versus Tariq Skubal. So probably not the best idea in hindsight to take two Oakland A's against one of the best pitchers in baseball. However, Brent Rooker is on a 9-game hitting streak, and he's 4 for 12 with 2 homers versus Skubal. I like that look as well. And the prices on these guys. So Butler's at a -155 to get 1 hit. That's wild. And Rooker's at a -165. So you pair him and Luis Arias together, you get a +104. Yes, please. Our next play is we're going to take Francisco Lindor. Now, this guy's on a 15-game hitting streak. Love this. And he's going versus Fernando Cruz in the Cincinnati Reds. Now, this guy's a bullpen guy. So he's 3-8 with a 4.99 ERA. And he's only going to pitch 1 or 2 innings. So he's got a lot of strikeout stuff. But then, Francisco Lindor only has to go against the Cincinnati bullpen, which isn't great. It's like a bottom 10 bullpen in the league. So give me Francisco Lindor to get 1 hit. And we're going to pair him with Bryce Harper. Now, Bryce Harper's got a hit in 10 of his last 12 games. He's going versus Cabrera of the Miami Marlins. Now he's 3 for 7 versus Cabrera. Cabrera is 3-6 with a 5.35 ERA. Not great stuff. And he's 1 for 2 with a double in 2024 versus Cabrera. So you pair those two guys together, you get a +111. Great price on that as well. Excuse me. Our last play is we are going to take Brandon Lowe of the Tampa Bay Rays. Now he's going versus Kramer of Baltimore today. He's 3 for 6 with a homer versus Kramer. He's got a hit in his last 8 of his last 11 games. Now Kramer's only got 2 wins over his last 11 starts. Not great. And we're going to pair it with Jackson Chourio. We haven't used this guy before. Now, this is a Milwaukee Brewer. He's on a 9-game hitting streak. He's 1 for 2 versus Feltner. He's got 3 home runs over his last 5 games. He's on a bit of a tear himself. And you pair those two guys together, you get a +101. So those are our 5 baseball plays today. Now, let's get into some football. Now, so for the free stuff, I know FanDuel has a free same-game parlay for this game. So what I did for this one is I took the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers over 48.5. I also took over the first quarter, over 9.5 points. Now, I think with this game being in Brazil, I don't know if they're going to want to establish the run right away or take some shots, see what happens down the field. Both of these teams have brutal pass defenses. Eagles were like 30th ranked in many of these categories last year. And I'll get why. I'll go into a little detail in a second here. And then our last one is we're going to take Christian Watson over 37.5 receiving yards. Now, I took this as a standalone play as well. So that was the 3-game parlay. The 3 of them together is a +322. So not a bad spot there. Now, Christian Watson over 37.5. This guy was like on the hype train big time for the last 2 years, but he can't stay on the field. And finally, he's healthy, although there was an injury scare this week. Looks like he's back and no problem back at practice. Now, when the offense for Green Bay was incredible from week 10 on last year. They just figured it out. However, they have like 4 number 2 receivers. None of them is a big ball hog. None of them is like an alpha. And when the 3 receivers, their 3 top guys, Dobbs, Watson, and Reed, were all on the field together, there was 159 plays last year. Now, Now, Watson gained a 25.9% target share out of those games, which led the team. So I do like that look. Philly's defense was like 31st in passing yards. They were, literally at the bottom of the barrel for most categories. Now, they did try to draft their way out of this, so they did take 2 rookies in the defensive end in the first and second round, a quarterback and a defensive back. So that should help, but also it's a new system. You got 2 rookies on the back end. They were terrible last year. It's going to take a while to acclimate to the NFL and to the new system. So I do think that Christian Watson can find himself alone somewhere along the way, and 37.5 receiving yards seems like an absolute gift. So I did take that. Also, there's the same 50% profit boost for FanDuel as well. So I'm going to wait for the game to start, and I'm going to hit Christian Watson again and get that same kind of plus 140 that I did with Mahomes in the last game. And then lastly, on DraftKings, also they have same game parlays, but one of them is a no sweat touchdown. So I did take Saquon Barkley to get a touchdown. I think they're going to try and want to keep Jalen Hurts not having to push as much, especially when you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield. I think he can get into the end zone. So I do like him as a anytime touchdown scorer for the no sweat one for DraftKings as well. So we got a ton of plays, a ton of information, a ton of free stuff. Take advantage of all those. Make sure they're either boosts or make sure you're opting in before you do it. I know you have to kind of click on the ticket now or on the little coin for FanDuel now. Make sure you're doing that, and it looks like it's been applied to the bet, or else you won't get that money back. All right, guys, after a beautiful night yesterday, great in baseball, great in the NFL, let's get back after it today. And if you're rocking with me, let's roll.